Harvey Weinstein is currently on retrial for his Me Too convictions in New York. And he just sat down for his very first interview in over 8 years on Candace Owens' channel. He was talking about how he has maintained his innocence this entire time, that he was essentially sacrificed for a social movement. And although he admits he was immoral and made many mistakes and hurt many people with his actions, he maintains he did not break the law and he is not guilty of what he was accused of in these convictions in both New York and Los Angeles. However, he has a long way to go before those convictions in New York get overturned, let alone the Los Angeles conviction, which added another 16 years to his sentence. So I want to play the trailer for his interview with Candace. It's very, it draws you in. You can't deny it. Even if you have no organic interest in Harvey Weinstein, it's like, makes you feel like you're there for a big cultural moment.
Proof that hiring good editors is a great business decision.
Yeah, shout out to the editors of this trailer.
I did not commit these crimes. I swear that before God and
I think they have like low bois in their toolkit.
Yeah, that's he's also, if you're listening rather than watching, like literally behind the window pane in prison. They let him wear a suit for this interview, but he is still incarcerated during the interview.
Here we go.
I did not commit these crimes. I swear that before God and the people watching now and on my family. The people who support me are scared to talk. They are frightened to death that they're going to be canceled.
What I always found to be problematic about the Me Too movement from the beginning, we're conflating he made a pass at me and I didn't like it with rape.
It's a complete fabrication about my relationship with Gwyneth. I didn't put my hand on her. I didn't touch her. I definitely made a pass. Ashley Judd's claims are ridiculous. I settled with Rose McGowan. I gave her $100,000. Don't tell my wife. Don't get me in trouble. It's all conflated, and it's all led to the idea that I am going to be the one they persecute. They broke me. They broke me in half.
There's just so much when you read the transcripts that defy common sense for me.
I've asked to have lie detector tests brought into the prison. So I know they're not admissible, but I want the world to know.
To be honest with you, I think a lot of people are going to hear this conversation.
Candace, you know, one thing I can tell you is this is going to explode.
When he gets closer to the camera, I was like, no thank you.
Yeah.
So he's on his full redemption arc right now.
Attempting. Here's the thing. A lot of people are just gonna be like, I just know. Like, I don't have. They're like, look, I entertained it with Johnny Depp. I'm not doing this.
Right.
Like, I'm
right.
not doing it.
Right. It's hard to sympathize with him, especially for me. I hear this sob story when, for the majority of it, he was engaging in risky behavior from the very beginning, and he admits that. Basically, what he says in this interview is, I was having transactional sexual relationships with countless women while cheating on my wife. The hush money I gave them was to keep it a secret, not in order to cover up a crime. Mm-hmm. And he left a trail of, you know, broken relationships in his wake. That's not to say that he's actually guilty of the crimes they convicted him, though.
Correct.
And one of the things you hear him address in that trailer is the accusations made against him by Gwyneth Paltrow. And this is from a story that she told the New York Times back in 2017 when all of this was blowing up. She claimed at the time that during a meeting at the Peninsula Beverly Hills Hotel, Harvey Weinstein put his hands on her and suggested they go to the bedroom for massages. This is what she said to the New York Times. I was a kid. I was signed up. I was petrified. She was in her early 20s, by the way.
I was going to say, what does that mean?
This was in 1996, which I believe meant she was about 23 at the time.
Okay.
She says, at the end of the meeting, as I was walking out of the door, wait, no, this is Harvey's quote. As I was walking out of the door, I said to her, I'd love for you to give me a massage. And that was it. I didn't put my hand on her. I didn't touch her. I definitely made a pass. I guess you could call it that. But that was the sum total of that situation. He confirmed previous reports, though, that Brad Pitt, Gwyneth Paltrow's boyfriend at the time, called him at Gwyneth Paltrow's request. She had Brad call me, and Brad, very cool, just said, "Don't do that again." So it's kind of hearsay, which is a repeated theme in these trials. They had a lot of women come forward to testify, not only in magazine interviews, but also on the stand to give character witness accounts. These were women who weren't even accusing him of a crime against them. They were merely there to bolster the idea to the jury that this guy is a monster with a pattern of behavior. So he's on retrial for the convictions in New York, and that was involving Miriam Haley and Jessica Mann. But the woman who accused him in Los Angeles is far less well known because she was a Jane Doe until after the trial concluded. So she revealed herself to be a Russian model named Evgenia Chernyshyova. I don't know how to say that. She's Russian. I don't know. But she claims that she met Harvey Weinstein at the LA Italia Film Festival in 2013. And after the event, she claims that he entered her hotel room by force. She doesn't know how he found out what her hotel number was or how she was even staying there. She says he exposed himself and forced himself on her. She tried to change the conversation to her then husband and children, but was still assaulted. But then when you look into the documents from his Los Angeles trial, you see they refused to look at cell phone data to prove that he wasn't even at that hotel. He says he was not even there at that hotel and that he had never even met this woman.
Yeah.
So they didn't even allow him to admit evidence for the jury that he wasn't even at that building at that time, let alone having committed those crimes.
And the thing is, with most of these cases, is people have just packed up and moved on, and all of it being done after the fact, it's not going to help.
This was his statement after the verdict back then in Los Angeles. "It's incredible to be convicted for a crime I wasn't even present for. I never raped or assaulted anyone. I'm innocent. This person perjured herself at least 3 times, sued for money. When she said on the stand that I was never with her, her entire claim was a setup for a money grab."
And the thing is his guilt or innocence for most people, it's almost irrelevant, because what it is he's representative of a culture in Hollywood that everybody, including the actors, knows exists, even if they're not willing to admit it on its face. Now, he became the publicly acceptable face of that side of Hollywood without anyone being willing to be intellectually honest enough to say this runs far deeper than him.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is look at any story that comes out. I used to call it like, it was like the celebrity to, it was like the Playboy model to book pipeline, right? So Holly Madison does some interview every couple of years about the detestable things that happened at the Playboy Mansion. Well, in the early 2000s, there was nothing more mainstream than Hugh Hefner, Playboy in Hollywood, right? And that's indicative of just that side of Hollywood. That's nothing to do with the actresses who had to do the casting couch and all of the things that everybody knows goes on. All of the kids who go into Hollywood and come out worse than they were before, they wanted a scapegoat for it. And the problem is he doesn't help himself by also being super creepy and lecherous and engaging in awful behavior. So his guilt or innocence to the average person who doesn't have any type of stake in his life, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All it is he's representative of an industry full of awful people.
It's funny because with a lot of these dubious Me Too claims, the accusers wanted to put forth this narrative that no one is a perfect victim. I'm not a perfect victim. Yes, I went back and I was friendly with my abuser, my rapist so many times, and I went back and I didn't protect myself, but that makes me an imperfect victim and I still deserve justice. But the tables have turned where Harvey Weinstein is not the perfect victim of Me Too allegations that turned out to be false. He is an imperfect victim of seemingly completely false convictions. However, Kevin Spacey, on the other hand, I am happy to throw that man under the bus,
actually,
and he walks free.
Before we do that, I want to point out that he's also, another thing that you have to understand about Hollywood is they talk out of both sides of their mouths.
Yes.
He says that plenty of people still come to him and ask for help on scripts.
Yep.
I wonder how many of those people, you know, are all believe all women in the front and Harvey read my script in the back.
Yep, exactly.
He says, I have friends who are still in the industry who slip me their screenplays and ask for notes, he told Candace Owens. Despite his criminal convictions and public disgrace, he insisted that he is still in a behind-the-scenes influence in Hollywood. You know, can I do something for it? Can I help? Can I improve it? And I just give them my honest thoughts. So plenty of people are willing to, you know, hold their nose and ask him for help for, I guess that would be like uncredited rewrites.
Right.
For his work, because at the end of the day, most of these people are self-serving, as most people are in their professional lives.
Right. It's not a surprise that they were pretending to have principles this whole time.
Correct.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.